first place was number 19, Roger Hurst, on a Yamaha. In second place was Phil Mellor on a Suzuki. In third place was Keith Hewin on another Yamaha. And in fourth place was Jeff Fowler on yet another Yamaha. In fifth place, Trevor Nation on a Yamaha. And then in sixth position, we had Brian Morrison on the first of the Hondas. So it's Yamaha, Suzuki and Honda. And then further down, we had Darren Dixon, who was ninth after the first leg on the first of the Kawasaki's. So that's this big Manufacturers' Cup for the £3,000 purse, which has been put up by the manufacturers. And this is the big showdown, the final part, the final leg over 8 laps. And it's a motocross scoring system. And there we have the grid line up. On pole position is Phil Mellor, who overcooked it slightly in the first part. And then we have Darren Dixon, number 38. Number 12, there you've got Brian Morrison on the Honda. Number 16, Keith Hewin on the Yamaha. 47, Fowler on another Yamaha. And 19, Roger Hurst. And there's the Yamaha team on the other side. And they're just close to starting off this race now. But it seems that they've jumped across the line. The marshal's out again saying, back you go, chaps. Wait for the proper signal. And they're away this time. Someone got quite a wheelie up that side. And they're heading towards Coppice Bend on this, the second leg of the Manufacturers' Cup. And somebody got in the lead there, couldn't quite see who it was. Mick Grant.
I think in actual fact it's Roger Hurst again. He seems to be making some flying starts today.
There they go. There's Roger Hurst. In fact, it is. He's making some brilliant starts, as you said. Phenomenal as they go down Park Straight and towards Park Corner. There he is, number 19, Roger Hurst, the 27-year-old from Aylesbury on the Yamaha, 6 overall in this championship. And he did pretty well in the first leg as well. Now, Mick, what about this second leg? Are they going to have to control it a little bit more, or are they going to race each other yet again?
I think in a race like this, just over 8 laps, Tony, they've just got to go for it flat out from the word go, and certainly that's what Roger's in front of them.
So, number 19, it's Roger Hurst in the lead, but it's a Suzuki with Phil Mellor in second place. It looks like number 16, Keith Hewin, the championship leader, who is in fourth position, and number 5, Trevor Nation on another Yamaha. That is the Steve Parish run Yamaha, who is down there in fourth position. And there's not a lot between them as they head through to the Hall Bends. And they have got another 7 laps of this. Through that hairpin, of course, that is first gear for these big 4-stroke 750cc machines, production-based, racing tyres, of course, and they're allowed to put on different suspension as they passed us at about 130 miles per hour going towards Coppice.
Phil Mellor's line in second spot at the minute, and in actual fact, in the first leg, he made a demon start and got away, and they seem to slow towards the back end as if maybe that's some machine bother, so let's just hope this time will be okay.
We just had a shot there of number 38, that was Darren Dixon, and he's in 5th position at the moment. The man we saw not so long ago winning that SBS TZR 250 challenge. He's out again. Just how tired might he be, Mick?
I'm not quite sure. It's just one of those things in racing. Sometimes it works good and other times you're out of luck.
That's Darren Dixon. He could be quite tired, but I suspect he's quite a fit young man. In fact, he's the first of the Kawasaki riders. He's 26 years of age and he's from Folkestone. There he is, number 38, going down through the gearbox at the bottom of that 1 in 3 hill.
It's quite good to see Kawasaki coming good. They've been fairly low down this year in the championship so far, but they seem to be getting the bikes a lot better now and getting to the front away a bit.
The Kawasaki say that they're developing that bike on the track still. A massive wheelie from Roger Hurst. That must be losing him time.
Roger's playing silly there because that's losing him an awful lot of time, and in a competition like this, he can't afford to be doing that. Silly boy.
Almost looked like he was going to fall off the back of the bike. And number 16, there's Keith Hewin up into second place, the championship leader, determined not to be left behind by this young upstart Hurst. That's great. Hurst having a quick look. But there's Hewin tucked in his slipstream. Third place, it looks like Phil Mellor on the Suzuki. So it's Yamaha, Suzuki in the Manufacturers' Cup at the moment. as they go through Charlie's Bend and out onto the Park Straight, getting onto the fastest part of the circuit as they tuck down behind the fairing, and getting up to a good 150 miles per hour, cresting the rise and down through the gearbox and through Park Corner, which they'll take in third gear. There you go, just clipping the apex.
Keith Ewan in second spot at the minute has quite a bit more experience than Roger Hurst, and I would think at this stage Roger must be feeling quite worried about it.
And Hurst nearly lost his footing there. His foot came off the peg, and you can just see him adjusting that. So he's really trying very, very hard indeed, Mick, but he's looking just a little bit wild at the moment.
A little bit ragged. He's just taking away a bit of pressure, and he's doing it all wrong.
And in fact, Ewan went inside him there as he pulled that big wheelie, but immediately Hurst goes back through the mountain, slipping inside him. Well, this is Fast and Furious Superstock at its best. Even Ewan was getting a wobbly on, and that was on his front wheel. Magic.
It almost looks as if Roger's playing with the opposition, but I can't really believe that's the truth at all.
Well, Roger Hurst managing to stay out there, and they're just coming up to finish 3 laps of this second 8-lap leg. Keith Ewan just in there at the moment. And in third place should be Phil Mellor on the Suzuki. And in fourth place should be number 5, Trevor Nation, on the other Steve Parish Yamaha. There he is, fourth place. And fifth place, Darren Dixon on the first of the Kawasaki's. And number 28, Ray Stringer from Leicester on the Suzuki. So he's coming up nicely in 6th position. Roger Hurst still in control as he gets to the Park Corner.
Phil Mellor seems to come back into the competition again, just on the back wheel of Keith Ewan.
Well, Rex White, the man who's the boss of the Suzuki outfit, said to me that this Superstock series is very close indeed, but he said sometimes it's too close for comfort.
Well, yeah, that's what racing's all about, and these boys are doing this racing as close to this every week. And in fact, the next round of the Superstock will be at Scarborough in a fortnight's time.
Right, the leader then, Roger Hurst still, as we look at that great gaggle of Superstock riders on their 750 machines. Coming up the mountain. Oh, Ewan then, his rear wheel trying to step out. I don't know how he controlled that.
In actual fact, what happened there with Keith is he wasn't quite lined up square at the jump, and he took off into the air at an angle, and that always causes some concern.
Well, I know it's quite commonplace and regular for you to see these riders cranking these machines over, but for everybody watching, there are certain safety elements about their dress. There's pads and things that protect them, aren't there, Mick?
That's correct. They've got a leather suit on, they wear leather boots, gloves, a very good crash act, and even when they do fall off, unless they actually hit something, it's very usual to get much of an injury.
Yeah, and also you just saw that great shot of Roger Hurst there. You can see his knee pads on number 19, and those are quite regularly worn against the tarmac. But he's still hanging on there, on that Yamaha. Ewan still in second place on another Yamaha, and the Suzuki honours being upheld by Phil Mellor. Mez Mellor, 31 years of age, who's racing, well, the best racing I've seen him perform for a long, long time.
He's pushing Keith Ewan quite hard, and in fact, at that halfway around Chris curve there, he had to knock it off because of running to the back of him. I think if he could just get in front of Keith, he could maybe make some impression on Roger Hurst.
Well, they've completed 4 laps, so they're on their 5th lap, coming through to the notorious mountain section again, which they take in 3rd gear there, just popping a wheelie and snatch 4th.
Roger just seems to steady down a wee bit now, and he's just getting his act together, and you can see the sort of result that's having is actually pulling a wee bit of a gap.
And as they come round to complete their 5th lap, it's number 19, there he is, Roger Hurst, that man from Aylesbury, or Hursty as they call him, formerly lived in the Isle of Man, in first place. In second place, number 16, on another Yamaha. That's Keith Ewan, the Superstock Series leader in 1987. And in third place is number 10, the Suzuki of Phil Mellor, Phil from Huddersfield, the 31-year-old. And in fourth place, number 5, Trevor Nation, on yet another Yamaha.
I think by this stage in the race, the tyres are absolutely working to perfection, and the rider should have settled down, and Roger's still looking a wee bit ragged. I'm quite surprised.
Well, maybe he's going to be wearing out his tyres. There's another rider off, I'm not quite sure who that is. He's obviously all okay. His bike might, of course, broken down. It's Stringer, it's Ray Stringer, and he'd got up into 6th place, so we wondered why he'd gone off on lap charts. There was the reason, as we see them going through the chicane at the bottom of the hill, the bottom of the gooseneck, and disappearing through to the mountain. In 5th place now, by the way, is number 6, Steve Chambers, who's a local man from Saxelby. And although this is his local circuit, it's been unlucky for him. He's actually broken his ankle here 3 times, so he must be pleased to be up in the points. And of course, he's riding well at his home track.
This particular section is the slowest part of the circuit. You come through a bound corner there in first gear, about 15-20 miles an hour, accelerating to Roger's at about maybe 110 now, and before it gets to the end of this straight, it'll be about 135-40 miles an hour.
Right, they've completed 6 laps, so there's 2 laps to go in the second leg of this Superstock Manufacturers Cup. That's the EBC MCN rounds. And there's Roger Hurst on his Yamaha. It seems like he's riding at 11 tenths, hanging everything out, Mick.
He's been riding a wee bit ragged, but he's getting away with it, and for the first time in the race, really, he's actually got a gap on that's actually worth something.
Well, there were 2 men that we were going to look out for in this race, the young men. One of them, of course, was Roger Hurst, who's 27, and looks very much younger than he is. He only looks about 19. But the other man that we were looking for was Terry Reimer, and unfortunately he non-started, but he had been 2nd in the championship. Won't lose points, of course, because this is a non-championship round.
No, Terry was very unfortunate, but he had some mechanical bother in the qualifying practice in the morning and didn't actually get the time in. Phil Mellor now, by the way, is up to 2nd place. No, I beg your pardon, still in 3rd.
There we go. The battle for 2nd place. It's 16, Keith Hewen, who's got that 2nd place at the moment, and behind him is Phil Mellor on the Suzuki. And then right behind him is Trevor Nation, the man who broke his collarbone at Knockhill and still rode in the next round of the championship, I believe, finishing 7th. Brave and hardy men out there, and very skilled.
Coming out of that corner, it's very much an adverse camber, and you've got to try and get the power on without getting the back wheel sliding out too much.
Well, they're on their last lap now, and it looks like, unless Hurst uses it, and Phil Mellor's going for it. He's trying to get that 2nd place away from Keith Hewen. Keith Hewen, of course, a veteran of many campaigns, both overseas and here on our own country. TT rider, transatlantic rider, Grand Prix rider, teammate to Sheen at one point, so lots of experience, Mick.
That's right. But Phil's trying oh so hard, look at that.
Well, Phil Mellor on that 3rd place Suzuki tried very hard indeed in the first leg, and he probably tried a little bit too hard. I wonder if he's been told to cool it a little bit by Rex White.
No, I think Phil ever riding his own race, but unfortunately, every time he's tried to pass and it's failed, he's dropped that wee bit behind, and it then takes another half lap to get back into contention again. And I think if Phil... Oops.
Well, it looks like Trevor Nation slipped through there into that 3rd position. So that's Suzuki down to 4th now. So it's Yamaha in the first 3 places. And here's the leader. There's number 19, Roger Hurst, and he's still pulling the big wheelies. Hopefully he thinks on his way to victory, unless he makes a mistake in these last 3 corners. Here he is, clipping tight through Hall Bends, coming down through the gearbox, down into 1st gear, actually through the hairpin corner, down towards the bomb. Look at him pulling on that throttle, just tucking in the knee to get out of the way of the concrete. And back onto the start-finish straight towards the checkered flag. And it's going to be a great win. There it is for Hursty, Roger Hurst in 1st position. A tremendous race from him. And Roger Hurst, the 27-year-old, takes victory. And of course, with it, so do Yamaha in the Manufacturers' Cup. In 2nd place was Keith Hewen on another Yamaha. In third place, pipping Mellor just on the last lap, was Trevor Nation on the second of the Parish Yamahas, and in fourth place, Phil Mellor for Suzuki. And in fifth place, a great finish there for Brian Morrison from Kirkcaldy in Fife, the 26-year-old, on the Honda.